And again, we've got a black dog on the field, rather larger than the...
There is no doubt about it. Sports have given us so many awesome moments in the past, and if you think about it, whatever sport you love, there is that one moment, or perhaps even a collection of moments that will always stand out to you. It could be Usain Bolt setting the world record at the 100-meter Olympics, or LeBron James becoming the NBA's all-time scoring king. Whatever it may be, these moments will always live on in your head. But there's also a flip side to that coin. You see, for every awesome and legendary moment there has been in sports, there are tons of other moments that kind of make you look back and say, what the heck was that? In this video, we'll be paying homage to some of these weird moments, showing exactly how outrightly strange that the sports world can be from time to time. Join us as we have a look at 15 of the weirdest sports moments in the world. Number 15. A comedy of errors. Now, when it comes to sports, it's beyond important for you to have a plan. I mean, there's a reason why you've got a coaching staff and have to go through different rounds of training to make sure you're prepared for a match. But in some instances, it just kind of seems like some teams aren't really prepared at all. Take this scenario, for example. Here you have a soccer match between two female teams, and take a look at how comically they're playing. First, we see what appears to be a counterattack from the ladies in yellow, but what seemed like a pretty loose ball for the goalie of the opposing team turned out to be pretty difficult to clear. Now, even though the goalie had failed to clear that one, the fact that she had a defender close to her meant that she was safe, or so you would have thought. And both the goalie and her defender had lost the ball. But what happened next made the entire thing worse. Now sure, these guys seem like amateurs. I mean, it's not like they're Alex Morgan or anything. But with this many errors, I feel like they should all just hang up their boots or something. It was really bad play all around. Number 14. Goal celebration gone wrong. One of the major reasons that soccer is seen as the most popular sport in the world is the fact that everyone can bask in the thrill of a goal being scored. The pure emotion that you see players express really underscores just how much passion is left in the game and how strongly that a lot of the players feel about it. That all being said, I think it's safe to say that some of those reactions can get a little overboard from time to time. Back in February of 2014, footage would emerge of a moment in a match between two teams in one of Italy's lower soccer leagues when a player took his celebrations just a bit too far. The clip begins with a recording of the goal, which, to be honest, was not really anything spectacular. But still, though, he scored the goal and deserved to celebrate. But do you think this celebration was really warranted? I mean, just take a look at that. This guy literally went to the dugout and broke the structure with his head, all because he scored a goal. Now, I'm a bit confused on this one. I'm guessing the goal meant a lot to the team, so everyone was a bit excited, but it wasn't really even an impressive goal by any stretch. I mean, if it wasn't for the error made by the opposing goalie, that wouldn't have even happened. And know who else thought the celebration was weird? The referee. Because as soon as the guy was done breaking the structure, this happened. Goodbye, dude. Please don't break anything on your way out. Number 13. Shaq Attack. In the history of the NBA, only a few players have really been as destructive and monumental as Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq, as he's fondly called, was so massive that he was pretty much a one-man army. He was unguardable when played one-on-one, and teams pretty much had to resort to double-teaming him and fouling him on purpose when he went to the rim. I mean, is it any wonder why Shaq was nicknamed Superman? The guy was a human wrecking ball. Now, because basketball is pretty much a no-contact sport, it might not be so easy to understand the immense power of this man using other players as measurements, but instead, let's look at one way that he loved showing off his power, by shattering backboards. According to unofficial sources, Shaq broke around 12 backboards all throughout his career, an insane number considering how reinforced these backboards can be. However, the weirdest of those moments was when he did it the first time. While playing for the Orlando Magic in his rookie season, Shaq gave the world a glimpse of just how huge he was when he did this. With one simple dunk, Shaq had brought down the entire backboard structure and pretty much put the NBA on notice. To make things even more crazy, the NBA itself had to intervene to stop him from breaking so many backboards. Today, any player who does this is actually given a technical foul.
Last game, Dennis Scott was starting. Bowie was coming off the bench as Hill follows and almost...
You would think that the NBA would blame the rim manufacturers for making such terrible rims, but sure, let's just blame Shaq instead. Number 12. Lights Out. The Super Bowl is one of the most anticipated sporting events in the world. Tens of millions of people tune in every year to watch the showpiece event, seeing the best football players in the world vying for the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Besides that, the event is so packed that brands will actually pay millions of dollars just to have their ads displayed for around 30 seconds. And that Super Bowl halftime show, well, it is the stuff of legend right there. I mean, who can forget that awesome Michael Jackson performance? With pretty much the entire eyes of the world watching, it goes without saying that preparations for the Super Bowl are at a fever pitch. I mean, forget the teams that are even playing. You've got the organizers, who shell out hundreds of millions to ensure the entire event goes off without a hitch. But back in February of 2013, the Super Bowl had one of the most infamous moments in the entire history of the National Football League. The game was being played between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, and it had pretty much lived up to the billing thus far. Then, in the third quarter of the game, a weird blackout suddenly hit the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Now, interestingly, no one really knows the cause of what happened on that day. Perhaps that's why it lives in so much infamy. Number 11. The Bad Shoe Game. Now, if you're a fan of college basketball, then you would know that Zion Williamson is probably the most hyped college athlete of all time. The guy's in the pros now and is one of the best players of the NBA, but the popularity he received while in college was absolutely insane. Even before he had committed to Duke, Zion was already a trailblazer, and as soon as he had joined the Blue Devils, he hit the stratosphere. Along with five-star teammates like R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish, Zion formed a deadly Blue Devil squad that won the 2019 tournament, reaching the Elite Eight of the NCAA March Madness tournament. To give you a glimpse of how hyped that he really was, he was literally being ranked amongst the best players in the NBA before he was even drafted. And anytime the guy touched the hardwood in college, it was box office. But in one instance, things nearly took a turn for the worse. In February of 2019, the Zion-led Duke would face off against UNC in a hotly contested match. And just a few moments into the contest, this would happen.
Chance right here. His foot comes out of his shoe.
That incident almost derailed Duke's entire season. They lost the game narrowly to UNC since Zion couldn't continue anymore, and the superstar player was out for a few games due to injury. And you want to know what's even more crazy? That accident alone caused Nike's stock to drop by 1% the next day, with the company's valuation taking a $1 billion hit. Now, fortunately, Zion recovered long enough to dominate the college basketball world once again. Number 10. A win at all costs. Now, there's one thing that tends to be common amongst the best of athletes. They do pretty much whatever it is they have to do to win. And in some cases, it could mean putting in extra training hours. However, in some cases, it could also mean putting your literal body on the line. Back in 2019, Texas A&M's Infinite Tucker showed the world just how much winning meant to him. While competing at the SEC Championship, Tucker was neck and neck in the 400-meter hurdle with teammate Robert Grant, and not looking to lose this one, he pulled off a daring move. The move actually worked. Tucker won the race by a tenth of a second, and he even left the race without any injury. Infinite move there, Superman. Number 9. Barry Allen time. One of the things that makes sports so awesome in today's world is actually the work that's being put in by members of technical crews all across the board. If you think about it, sports are so much more exciting these days thanks to the work of cameramen, lighting engineers, sound technicians, and so much more. For many of these guys to be good at their job, they need to also be pretty fit. And a few years back, one cameraman really showed the world just how much work he was willing to put in to get the perfect shot. Here we see a cameraman who is in charge of covering a race. And as the race was getting to the home stretch, he literally got on his sonic boots and said, "Screw it, I'm going to compete with these guys."
Get it? Oh, maybe somebody can! Is that our cameraman? He's matching him stride for stride! He's run the whole race with that camera on his shoulder! Just incredible!
Just so we're clear, the cameraman actually got up and decided to stage his own racing competition just by the sideline, all because he wanted to get the perfect shot for the race. That was intense, but next time you go to work, just remember to bring in as much dedication as this guy did. Number 8, 2 for the team. Do you know how hard a cricket ball is? Now, I know it's not the most popular sport over here by a country mile, but let me tell you, those balls are rock hard. And that's why batsmen have to wear those helmets to protect their heads when a bowler hurls a ball at them. But here's the thing. Even though cricket batsmen have proper protection for their heads, it doesn't mean that every other body part is safe from the mighty cricket ball. And you can ask anyone who's ever been hit by these things moving at a high speed, it's not a good experience at all. Back in October of 2020, English cricket player Liam Livingstone got to learn this the hard way. While in position in a match against the Melbourne Renegades, Liam took a huge body hit after a particularly hard bowl.
Slip and play.
You can just hear the scream of agony as the ball hits him. Fortunately, though, he was fine enough to continue the match, and that's when this happened. Liam had to take a quick break from the match, but all in all, he was strong enough to continue. If that was me, I would have been a wrap for the entire game. Gotta protect the body, you know. Number 7, wardrobe malfunction. Professional sports leagues like the NBA take their gear very seriously, and it's easy to see why. Everyone from the players to the teams and even the sponsors wants to make sure that no one gets hurt, and this means that you won't be able to play a game if you don't wear the right attire. But it also appeared that Michael Beasley seemed to forget that memo back in 2019. While playing for the Los Angeles Lakers against the Oklahoma City Thunder in a regular season game, Mike was gearing up to check in when he was called out by the ref for not having the right shorts on.
Moments ago, now here is one for the books. Michael Beasley looking to check in.
Now, I'm not really sure how on earth he forgot to put on the correct shorts, but the guy literally just forgot about dressing etiquette. Fortunately, however, he was given the chance to go back into the dressing room and change into the proper shorts.
And he heads back to the locker room instead of wearing.
Honestly, I'm just glad he wasn't wearing something like an opposing team's gear. Can you even imagine the extent of clowning he'd have to endure in that case? Number 6, weirdest acceptance speech ever. If you think that the strangest things to happen in sports are only limited to a pitch or a court, you would be mistaken. Like every other industry, the sports industry also has awards events, essentially nights where the biggest names in sports come together to pretty much celebrate individual brilliance witnessed throughout the year. And if you're lucky enough to win an award, you even get to give a speech. Now, normally acceptance speeches are pretty standard stuff. You come in, thank your team and the fans, thank your family, and maybe even use the opportunity to talk about a cause that's close to your heart. But back in 2019, Eric Cantona gave what is hands down the strangest acceptance speech in the history of sports. Now, if you're a soccer fan, you'll probably be familiar with the bizarre man that is Eric Cantona. He was brilliant in his day, but he was also quite prone to a hot temper and throwing the occasional tantrum. When he was given the UEFA President's Award in 2019, he would give this truly dumbfounding speech.
We'll not only be able to slow down the aging of the cells. Soon the science will fix the cells to the state. And so we will become eternal.
And if you think that was all, well, Eric gave this final parting note.
Only accidents, crimes, wars will still kill us. But unfortunately, crimes and wars will multiply. I love football.
Thank you, Eric.
You could just see the dumbfounded faces of everyone in the audience. I mean, even the guys who didn't speak a lick of English were like, what the heck is he even saying? Eric, you just keep on being the legend that you are. Number 5, coming from the sky. These days, sports are more than just pastimes or competitions. They can also be used to spread important messages. And when done correctly, sports can really be used to affect major change. However, I don't think that this guy had the right plan at all. In 2021, viewers at a European Championships match between France and Germany were shocked when a guy came into the stadium to spread an important message. The problem, though, was that he had chosen an unconventional means of doing so by taking a parachute and literally flying into the stadium. Now, you might think that parachuting into a packed stadium would be a risk, and boy, let me tell you, you'd be absolutely right. The guy had apparently lost control of his vehicle, and instead of landing on the pitch, as he had planned, he pretty much crashed onto the main grandstand. According to reports, the guy had been a protester for Greenpeace, who was protesting the continued use of fossil fuel oils and their effects on the environment. I mean, I get the fact that he was trying to pass on a message, but was that really worth all of the stress? Not to mention the fact that he'd interrupted a beautiful game. Greenpeace did apologize on his behalf, though, so I guess that they learned their lesson in the end. Number 4. Man's Best Pitch Invader. Now, personally, I love seeing it when there's a pitch invader in a soccer match. I mean, I don't want any of the players to get hurt or anything. I just love seeing someone take their passion for the sport to new heights that they immediately charge toward the main pitch as soon as they get the chance. Now, these days, it's pretty common to see pitch invaders in soccer matches. Take a look at the guy who came in with a parachute. However, back in 1962, the soccer world had one of its first instances of a pitch invader, and it wasn't even from a human. In a World Cup match between England and Brazil, a dog literally evaded pitch security and made it onto the main pitch where the players had just kicked things off.
And again, we've got a black dog on the field, rather larger than the one we had at Rankawa.
The match would eventually be paused on the account of the dog as officials scrambled to get the pooch out of there. But even though it was being chased, the four-legged rascal was more happy to run around the pitch enjoying itself.
Of France, the referee stopping the play until we remove the dog.
Fortunately, though, England striker Jimmy Greaves apparently had a little bit of experience in handling dogs, and he was able to calm the pitch invader down and capture it.
Now Jimmy Greaves. Willie.
Something tells me that guy will be sleeping in the doghouse for its antics that day. Number 3. Misdirection. Self-awareness is one skill that any sports person needs to have at every point in time. You need to understand the status of the game, as well as what you need to either win or even tie the score. Otherwise, what the heck are you even doing there? Back in October of 1964, Jim Marshall, a defensive end in the NFL, appeared to have lost his head a little bit. While playing a game for the Minnesota Vikings, he had picked up the ball following a fumble from the opposing team's quarterback. Now, normally, when a defensive end picks up a ball, there's an opportunity for the team to score a touchdown and increase their score. However, it appeared that Jim had lost his sense of direction and literally went the wrong way.
Marshall is running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way.
You saw that right. Jim took the ball and ran toward his own team's end zone, thinking that he had scored a touchdown for the Vikings. And to make things worse, he literally threw the ball away once he hit the end zone, as he thought the job had been done. Can you even imagine how silly he must have felt when he turned around, expecting his teammates to mob him, only for him to realize he had just scored a safety instead of a touchdown?
And said, "Thanks, Jim. You knew right away. You really messed up this time."
The crazy thing here is that Jim wasn't actually a scrub. He was a pretty good player who had recovered a record 28 fumbles in his 20-year career. Still, though, none of those recoveries was even as popular as this one. I mean, they call the man Wrong Way Marshall for a reason, apparently, and this is it right here. Even the NFL included it in its list of worst plays ever. Yikes! Number 2. Losing track of time. And if you think that Jim Marshall's wrong way play was the weirdest thing ever, well, let me raise you J.R. Smith. In the history of the NBA, only a few players are known for making flat-out boneheaded plays like J.R. Smith, and to be honest, you kind of have to feel for the guy at some points. Still, though, J.R.'s biggest and most infamous play came in 2018. You see, J.R. was playing for the Cavs at that point, and the team was vying for a win in Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. No one really expected the Cavs to come out of this one on top, but thanks to some incredible luck and a 51-point monster performance by LeBron James, the Cavs were still in it. Fortunately for the Cavs, they got a last-second pair of free throws while they were down by just 1 point, and George Hill, the man who was to hit the free throws, made the first one easily and tied the score. That's when this happened.
Goes to the Cavs. J.R. Smith brings it back out. Throws it to Hill. Hill shot blocked.
For those who don't understand, JR caught the rebound literally under the rim. Instead of just simply laying up the ball and sealing the game, he turned around and drove the ball further outside. His actions ran out the clock and the game went into overtime. And as you would expect, the firepower of Steph Curry's Warriors was just too much for the depleted Cavs once overtime had come along. The Dubs won the game and ended up sweeping the series on their way to a two-peat championship. So, what in the world happened? Well, he would never admit it, but it appeared as though JR thought the Cavs had been up by 1, so he simply wanted to drive the ball out and waste as much time as possible. Yeah, it was the wrong call.
Watch James. Now wanted a timeout, but too late to get it.
Now this is the moment that LeBron knew that it was over for him and the Cavs. Number 1, the double flop. If you're a true basketball fan, then you'd hate flopping with every fiber of your being. It's just annoying. The play is going on and one player decides to over-exaggerate a hit just because they're trying to get a foul call. And to be honest, I understand why a lot of people hate flopping, but I've got to admit that it's part of the game. And when you're able to execute it properly, flopping can be used to your advantage. That all being said, not every flop attempt is seamless. Even worse, several players have been known for their propensity to flop. One such man is Philadelphia's Joel Embiid, and in a game against the Boston Celtics, Joel got a little dose of his own medicine when opposing player Daniel Tease decided to flop with him. The play begins with Joel opening himself to get a pass from a teammate and pretending that Daniel's tackle was too hard, but not to be outdone, Daniel immediately fell to the ground with him. The two men were eventually given technical fouls for their troubles, and the game was allowed to continue. What a pair of actors. Now, it goes without saying that some people really dial on the weird when it comes to sports. It's a good thing there are cameras there to always capture those moments. But what do you think? Are there any weird moments that didn't make the cut? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one in the future, and I'll see you next time.